Well, it's always an impromptu live when it's me and Rob. So what's good, guys? How you doing? Welcome to Crazy Pinfalls. We're just going to be hanging out, shooting the shit today with Don Credion of Wicked Crazy Pinfalls, and also a Fightful contributor who covers AEW Dark, among other things. How you doing, bud? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm not used to being on here on a Saturday, so it's nice to change it up. If you see behind me over here, that's my niece's Barbie house. Just want to make it clear on the air right now that it's not mine. Just so everybody knows that. I will play with it later after we're done, but it's not mine.
Hey, I mean, you always got to start with a joke somehow, right?
Yeah.
But it's true. We are live. We are live.
So, I know we were. When was the last time we were on? Last week together?
We're talking about the Rumble.
Yeah. So what did you think of the Rumble? I didn't get to watch your Tuesday show at all.
It was awesome. I was really, really surprised which way they go. I did say like everybody thought Brian would. I thought Edge could have won if I got a chance to look back at all the picks we made. But I mean, for me, more so, what was interesting is to actually eat some crow for a change, which is very common sometimes. And I really thought they would go with the pattern and keep the 4 horsewomen pattern going until next year, but I guess I was wrong. It's interesting to see which way they went, because with Bianca, it rightfully so, it should be her time. But it also, for me, it was more so like, okay, well, they have Bayley losing a few matches, and then the pattern in the past, the person who was basically going to win the Rumble was literally, lost a couple of matches here and there, and then all of a sudden, sorry, that snap didn't work, but won the Rumble. I know it's a long day.
No, just like I've been there.
By the way, StreamYards is kind of acting up like it usually does for everybody's stream, so why not ours? Bianca is the perfect choice. It's the right choice. If it wasn't Bayley, if they weren't going to go that route, if Sasha wasn't the champion, if the roles were reversed, everybody also said like all the way Hell in a Cell was October, right? October, right around there. That Sasha would have probably been the one if Bayley was still champion at that point, which would have made perfect sense at that moment if they didn't pull the trigger too early. WWE has a history of premature pulling, as we all know. But it's like one of those things. It's like it was bound to make sense that somebody else in this generation's NXT, because she's only been on the main roster for over a year, or literally over a year, to get Bianca.
She hasn't been on there yet a year.
Yeah, she has. She's been on the main roster for almost 2 years.
No, she just got like last year, man.
Yeah, last Mania, so she'll be 1 year.
Yeah, you said 2. That's why I was confused.
Well, I was quoting what I thought I heard, so yeah, whatever. Oh. Like I said,
okay,
but
no problem. I was lost because I wanted to make sure you were still talking about Bianca, because I was like, I don't think she. But no, I get you. Go ahead.
But it's going to be fun to see where they do with this. Obviously, the right choice is what they're doing is they want to go with Banks. Perfect choice, perfect match, main event quality match for probably night 1. And what I'm hoping to see is that they pull that trigger and give like a long feud. Like, I don't want one of these feuds where Mania happens, Sasha and Banks happen, and it's just one match. I'd rather have them do, okay, so here's one match. They cool it off a little bit, kind of like they used to do. Like, if you remember some of the Austin Rock matches and stuff, they build them up to a huge match, cool them off for a little bit, get closer to SummerSlam, build it up to a big, like, Bianca Sasha 2 kind of deal where Sasha has it, and then build it off, and then give her the title going into Mania, give Bianca the title going to Mania next year, but not saying like, oh, she should get it right at Mania. Why would you do that when it wouldn't make sense? Because if you want to build SmackDown's women's division to be a dominant division, right now Sasha is the hot hand. So why don't you keep that coal going and keep it hot and push this feud? This is a legit contender for Sasha's title. Carmella kind of legit didn't do anything. I think the Bayley feud legitimized Sasha's title literally after Hell in a Cell. It did two things at Hell in a Cell. She won and beat the whole, streak of her losing the first two Cell matches. But I also believe that Bianca is going to be on the same par as Sasha within the next year. So, I mean, her winning the Rumble has one leg up on Sasha, and I think Bianca could point that out, be like, hey, I won the Rumble. You didn't. You've never won a Rumble. You've never won Money in the Bank. It could be like, point out, you're a Grand Slam champion, but I have one thing over you, and just let it gnaw on Sasha. I mean, how would you book this match, though?
Bianca has to go over. Because the reason that is because of WrestleMania. That's the time that you put somebody over. It's very uncommon for somebody not to win the title at WrestleMania. And she needs to win. They are building her up. They've been building her up to be the next big thing for the women's division. And this is what you do. Sasha Banks can help put Bianca at that level, and then maybe at SummerSlam you could have Bianca versus Charlotte. Who knows? I don't know, but I do know one thing, that Bianca needs to go over and win the title more than Edge needs to win the title with whoever he goes after. I'm still kind of curious to see what they're going to do with Edge. Last night they made it look more obvious that he's going with Roman. But who knows? Who knows? Like, they don't know. I mean, there's been rumors that they want to get Finn on Mania for the NXT title, or they want to get the NXT title on Mania. So that's
and the thing also is that some people are saying that it's a possibility that Edge wants to be in NXT for a short time, and the stuff he's done, talking to Nakamura, talking to Cross, talking to Damian Priest, it seems more like he is interested in bringing up the next generation, rather than, we have Hulk Hogan here. Nothing against Hulk. Yeah, he's probably a worst person in the world, but I'm talking about like, we need to bring so-and-so back, Goldberg, and have somebody come in and take somebody else's opportunity away. Now, for what I've been seeing from a distance, Edge doing this is a smart thing. So for me, I'm thinking he would go after Finn. It's not going to be real, all right? They're going to put him with Roman. Let's be blunt. But the smart thing, and if you've read Bubba Ray's, that was on Twitter, I think it was on Instagram too. Rob's gotta love StreamYard that it kicks off for a second.
It showed me that you froze.
Yeah, it showed both. What I think it would be a better fit would be him not picking Roman, him not picking, Drew. Pick Finn. Now, here's a scenario where it could play out. He already quoted that that's a title he has never held. What you could do is, and people are going to be like, well, throwback. If Finn loses a title and stuff like that, what is Edge going to do? The thing is that Finn's doing an amazing job with the title. There's prestige with that title. He's building that title be something that's undeniably going to be the strongest title in that company in a few years. But
I
with
don't.
I'm saying
I don't.
not. I'm saying like maybe 5 or 10 years from now.
Okay. I just.
So,
Okay.
but I think with the short term aspect of it, and Edge seeming to want to build up more talent, pointing out to WWE, hey, especially when people have been saying too, is that Edge and Christian kept geeking out about NXT the entire time.
Yeah. Well,
Um, and the comments Bubba Ray stated, and seemed like he thought NXT is more polished, it's more well-rounded. The wrestling, the stories make sense, the fights make sense, everything is worked really well. And he compared to AEW and said it was, and this is me saying what I saw, so don't literally push me into a quote saying that Throwback said this. It says that when I looked through it, it was on Facebook actually, and it said that it was indie-ish kind of. I don't know if you saw that,
no,
but
I don't.
it's something for me where it was like Bubba Ray's putting over NXT. Edge is in NXT. I think it would be good if Hunter asked Vince to have the NXT title up there, and especially with the new Peacock deal. Even though everybody's like, well, you have Drew as your Raw champion. Now, let me get this straight. Let me do this way. If Edge goes after Balor, you have 2 slots open for a champion, right? Bryan versus Roman. Okay, so there's your one of your main events for one night. You can have Edge and on night 1, Roman and Bryan as your night 2. Doing this, and I have no clue why it's doing this.
Yeah.
And then then you could, with McIntyre, you could put Priest there for right then. You could put Keith Lee, because they're not doing anything with Keith. Come on now, they should be doing something with him. I mean,
the reason why Keith Lee would have been in the Rumble last week if he didn't have the COVID. Like basically, well, I don't know if he has COVID, but because of his girlfriend, I can't remember her name right now.
Mia.
Yeah. So I think that's one of the reasons why he wasn't like on the Rumble, because he was quarantining, and then basically he wasn't on this week. So maybe you're right. Maybe they don't have something. But going back off that, I think you're way off on the.
Well, we are well known in this show for me having crazy ideas at times.
But like I think based off, and it's very early still, but based off last night's Smackdown and just kind of what I'm going with is I think it's going to be Edge versus Roman. I think they're going that route. As far as NXT, I think they will have a title defense. I'm assuming it's going to be Finn Balor versus maybe Cross. Maybe it could go a couple different ways. But the one that's really cool, like making me question things, is because I don't, and it could always change. I just right now I don't see Edge going after Drew. What I would like to see, and I made this theory last night, is at Elimination Chamber. Let's say you have Drew face Sheamus, right? At Elimination Chamber. After Drew wins, you do the same thing you did in 2018 at NXT TakeOver. Adam Cole comes in, takes Drew McIntyre out, just like he did at TakeOver when he premiered or when he debuted. Sets it up. That's just my personal dream. Give me Adam Cole versus Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. It's not going to happen, but at least I can dream and say that.
I mean, the other idea that flew in my head is that who do you have in NXT that's ready to go up other than Priest? That's going to is that now is on Raw. We could see that. I mean, you got Thatcher there, but he's doing stuff with Ciampa for the Dusty Classic.
Yeah.
what you got the UE, and for the brand, if they're still called that, is still feuding with each other, kind of touching here and there kind of deal, with, Birch and Only and, all that stuff,
Yeah.
done going against Balor at the next takeover. It's going to be hard to figure what they've got planned. But I think, like you said, on the 21st, I think everything else will kind of come a little more clearer.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. But at the end of it all, I still think that Balor should be the choice. It makes more sense if you look at it on paper. But and the thing is that people are going to give me flack about this, and that's fine. But I think with Balor, though, is that if Edge wins the title, it gives Balor a longer feud than just like him having O'Reilly minute, getting in a tag match against Only in Birch. Now he had another match with O'Reilly, and now he's going against Dunn. I think they're itching towards getting to Cross, but I think they should hold off on Cross a little bit. Make Edge and Balor make it like kind of like a premiere thing and go. They basically are like yin and yang with each other. If you look at how their styles are and stuff, and I think Edge was Edge on Corey Graves' podcast
Recently? Yeah, I believe so.
I think he said it's something where it's like he was a hybrid of three different people, and that Edge is trying to like adapt to that kind of style, and it would be interesting to see, him going against Finn and just the physicality they can get. The benefit on there is the side note about that. Edge being a family man, he'll be with his wife a lot more, which is great. As a family man, that would be perfect. But also as a wrestling fan, you get to see Edge literally just let loose. And I think with Roman's so free to do everything, and he's very accepting, it seems, of all what ideas that come their way. But it has to make him look like he's stronger than Edge. And right now, Edge is playing this completely good because he's making Finn wonder if Edge is right behind him, McIntyre behind him, and stuff. But if you put each champion down on paper, Finn looks like the most logical choice, just from a standpoint for promotion, too. The bigger money, obviously, is going to be Roman. There's no denying that.
And that's what's good about about wrestling is you can always have a different opinion. Like how you're saying it's logical. I think it's more intriguing than Edge versus McIntyre, like Finn. But I have it Roman is the more logical, followed by Finn, and then Drew. I'm not sure who Drew's going to face yet. If he doesn't face Edge. I know they can't go with Sheamus that long. It just wouldn't work. But we never know. I mean, they have plenty of time, but we'll move off on the Royal Rumble talk.
There's one thing that they said about right now that I've been listening to. Before we went on, I was watching Talking Smack, and it's still on my TV right now, not playing though. The interesting part was Heyman said, telling directly into the camera, says, "You're not getting a title shot, Owens. You're not getting near Roman. Go to Raw. Go face their inept champion." And if they do that, Owens versus McIntyre, that would be a freaking Donnybrook right there. Both of them just not caring, going at it, slugging it out. But it all depends, really. I mean, I would even love seeing, Cross come up here and destroy McIntyre at this point, because I don't want a Randy match. I don't want the Sheamus match is going to be something to get through. Hell, I'll even say this. Why don't they trade somebody over on SmackDown and bring Nakamura? Give Nakamura a match against Drew. God, man. Give that guy a shot. Hell, you've got Cesaro just signed his contract. Why don't you put Cesaro in there? What's up, Aaron? How you doing, man? Great show today, by the way. You could have, all these guys. I would literally love to see Cesaro versus, Drew. I would literally love to see that. And it would do one of two things. Yeah, it'd be face versus face. Who cares about that stuff? That's all and done with now. I would love to see the physicality between these two. These two styles can mesh really well with each other. And for me, it gives Cesaro that much needed shot at a major title that has been lacking. And it's very, very sad that it hasn't happened all this time. And I'm not talking about the United States Championship, the Tag Champions, the IC title. I'm talking about the WWE Championship or the Universal title. Now, if you give Cesaro a shot at Roman, not a fair shot. Because Roman's the hot hand in the company right now.
Yeah. It's, in my opinion, for WrestleMania, it's going to be versus Roman. It's either going to be Edge or Seth Rollins, I think. And I don't know. I think the best thing would be for Edge and Roman to go at it. Let Roman go over. Let him keep his belt. And then you can set up whatever you want for SummerSlam. If you want to do Rollins versus Reigns, then you could do that. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities. We both know that, but yeah.
I mean, the scenario I laid out made more sense as a fantasy booking, but everybody's like poo-pooing it and stuff. They're like, no, don't take him off. And I get it. Roman's making that title. Roman could literally say, as the saying goes, he can make chicken shit out of chicken salad and make it work. But I like the idea of Roman being the tribal chief, the head of the table and stuff. Hell, I have a shirt of his that says wreck everyone and leave. But I would like to see a dangerous Roman where he is freaking out that the fact that the one thing that legitimizes who he is gone and what length he would get to it. And,
I don't see that's where
and I think it eventually, not anytime soon, and not in the next year or so, that's not going to happen. But I like that idea, that interest of a dangerous Roman, the guy who is the head of the table, the tribal chief, the guy who is saying he is the end all of be all, that loses the one thing that he loves the most by somebody. Now, it doesn't have to be Edge. It doesn't have to be Bryan. It doesn't have to be anybody anytime soon. But I love that idea where it's like you're making him go crazy because of the fact that he's built him up to a Zeusian aspect of his life, to saying he is it. He is God. Nobody better than him. And having like that JBL instance where Cena took the title at Mania and all of a sudden he's chasing after something and he built himself to believe his own hype.
Yeah.
And once he beats Rock next year, let's say that happens, that confidence at High Rock, this Roman, the Roman that we've all wanted, goes higher. And then that Rocky-esque moment where, somebody beats Roman for that title and the gas of air comes out of everybody, whether there's a crowd or not. I want to see what happens afterwards. I want to see that dangerous side of him, seeing what he will do to get that back, to prove that he is who he is. We have not seen that. And that was my point when I did the fantasy book. And I'm like, Roman came back, instantly got into a title match. And all of his championship matches have been stipulations and have not been clean matches. So I want to see a straight up clean match. Let these two go and have Roman win clean. And I want that one person who takes that title away, maybe a year from now, maybe 2 years, whenever, do it cleanly and have Roman be that dangerous character. I know everybody's jumping at me saying, well, not at Mania, not at Edge. It's fantasy booking. It's not like I'm predicting the future. I'll admit that the Otis thing was 1 in a million guess. If I went to Vegas and said Otis will win Money in the Bank and the odds were like 10 million to 1 and I put $20 down, I'd be a millionaire. Better you bet that ass. But guess what? That was a guess.
Yeah.
But I think honestly, if fantasy booking wise, Edge winning at Mania would set up a match that I think Edge would want, which would be Bryan before Bryan's contract ran out. Bryan wins the title at SummerSlam, re-signs his contract, kind of like a Punk thing, but not doing the angle Punk did. Survivor Series, Roman wins the title back going into Mania. The Rock wins the Rumble and Dallas, where they're wanting to break that record that they set, Rock and Roman in Dallas. And that would give Roman a little gap of trying to chase it and have some paranoia about not having it and trying to rebuild that confidence, saying, I am this, I'm going to be this, I'm going to get this back. I want to see that side. I want to see, somebody do something where his character falls apart and then turns around and he's like, shit, I have to rebuild it. I have to get better. And, the whole Rollins thing when he got injured, rebuild, kind of thing. But I want to see him be like that sense of urgency. Like, I need to get this now. I'll do whatever it takes to get it kind of idea.
Yeah. I mean, that's what, like you said, it's fantasy booking for you. But at
least I put a disclaimer on there saying like, hey,
no, that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's what's good. That's why it's good that me and you aren't in charge in Orlando, because I'd be telling you you're effing crazy. Mm-hmm. I'd be like,
if you and me were in Orlando running everything right now, you would tell me I'm crazy because of the fact I'd say, Rob, he's going against Balor. Bryan, Roman. They hinted at that about 3 weeks ago that he wants to go against Roman. There's one of them. And then you have to we would sit there and try to figure out McIntyre.
I would do the scene from There's Something About Mary where I'm like, step into my office. Why? Because you're effing fired. You know what I'm talking about? Like when
I am. Yeah. I was like, because I call you the Don Corleone the Week of Crazy. I was like, no, it's just, oh boy, like, he's gonna get me a whack. I'm freaking smacking.
It was just I was just thinking that, and like that's how different our opinions are for Mania, and that's a good thing. But like going off the Rumble, like moving on, I just kind of looked over like some of the news that's going on today. I saw something that might interest you. Today, a former Boston College athlete won the WWE 24/7 title. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I didn't, but I don't. Yeah. I'm not surprised.
Doug Flutie won it today.
Oh my god!
But he lost it though too. So
I bet John from Wrestling Plugging, who's a huge Notre Dame fan from South Bend, is literally being like, well, another BC product wins a title, and literally, nobody from Notre Dame has won that 24/7 god awful title. I'll give it that much. Truth has carried that title so much, and I know it's a joke title, but come on, let's give the guy his due. Like, the guy is literally trying to keep that title as relevant as possible for people who are like mid-card, little lower, not getting any time. And now they're with Mania, they're going to end up trying to watch. Please don't give Gronk the title, please. But still, it's just, please no. Yeah. I would absolutely, one person on the 24/7 title I would absolutely see, just to see it, is somebody in our community, and just see if circumstances. I would like to see Sean win the 24/7 title and see what he does. Or I would like to see somebody we know in our lives win it. Like Sean, you, me,
Yeah.
somebody. Like I would like to see what if, like, say there's a referee and so Truth's at a pizza shop and rolls them into a pin and goes from there. Something just funny like that to see do it, and then like how they did with probably Flutie. He just lost it within about a couple hours from there.
I think Sean only has dreams of one title, and that's the Fightful Championship. I don't
I
see
know.
him. I don't see him having interest in the 24/7. I think he's going after the Fightful one. I think that's the one for him. Um, uh, but yeah, I would. Hey, if
But
I
you get
won, I
the but you get the point though. It would
yeah,
be
I know what you're
interesting to
saying.
see somebody who's not famous, who's not in the media, not in the major media, the wrestling media, which is journalism in itself in its own right. And I'm a communications guy. I took communications in college. I give what everybody does in our community is what their due is, and they do it good. They do it a lot better than a lot of people, and it would be interesting to see somebody like, I don't know, Luke Owen all of a sudden kind of cross truth and try for it, or Denise, or somebody, something where
Well,
it just makes something interesting and different.
yeah. Well, and I
Of
get where
course,
you're
I'm
coming
thinking
from.
outside of the box too.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah. Then the other thing though is WWE doesn't acknowledge the internet reporters. Or I shouldn't say, like online journalism, like the Wrestling Inc., the Fightful. They just don't do it because if they did, they would like the nights when you see that Sports Illustrated reports or Variety reports, that stuff's already out earlier that like either Sean has broken or maybe Dave Meltzer has broken, like WWE just doesn't acknowledge um uh like your fightful.com, your wrestlinginc.com. And that's a shame, to be honest with you, because if if you do if you're first, you're first. And if you're breaking stories, they should be the one that gets it. But WWE doesn't do that. They kind of do it they do it kind of like how other companies do it. They just kind of give a tidbit and confirm it through a different source. And um, I completely see where you're coming from a like fantasy booking standpoint. And
it's not
but
fantasy booking about the whole wanting somebody outside of their
oh yeah,
bubble to
well
win it. It,
yeah,
it, it or somebody like from ESPN winning it or something like that, or
yeah.
Doug Flutie, which I have no problem with. I just like to see the average Joe win that title once and not at a
That
Mania or something like that. And like Truth walking across the street to go get his mail, and then all of a sudden,
yeah.
just lo and behold, the one of the refs that are in the neighbor that live like 2 blocks away, let's say, all of a sudden, boom, you know, his next
Yeah,
door neighbor is the 24/7 title, and Truth's freaking out about it.
yeah,
I want to see something like that where it makes the common guy, like the whole thing with Dusty Rose, make the common man relevant and understanding. It
yeah,
it would make something like a nod to the fans saying, we know about what you guys are saying, we know about everything, and then all of a sudden Joe Schmo, who's not a millionaire or a billionaire or somebody who's a television analyst or something like that, are not in their circle, winning it, just like, someone like, hell, I would even love it if they went to a cancer. And this is just me seeing this as somebody's, like I said, and it's been documented in the community about my mom, somebody who is fighting cancer win the 24/7 title, and then Truth has a dilemma, and the talent has a dilemma. Do I go after this person to win the 24/7 title, or do I just leave it alone because of their cancer treatment? Now that would be a dilemma. That would be a moral dilemma of them trying to decide whether to do it or not. But I think with Truth, what he would do is he would be just, the person would just give him the belt back and go from there. But it would just, there's ways of using that title. It's just they don't decide to use it as well as they should.
yeah. Um, the
Besides, I'm going to be starting a petition to have Rob Wilkins as the Fightful video game champion as soon as that starts.
No, I won't. I will not be part of that. I like playing video games. I just don't know. Couple other things tonight. During the main event of the UFC pay-per-view, Fightful's doing a watch-along with for the Alistair Overeem and the Alexander, I believe it's Volkov main event. So just so you're aware of that. Sasha Banks, they announced it last night on Smackdown. She's going to be the honorary starter for Daytona 500 next week. I don't follow NASCAR, but it's still pretty cool that she gets to go out there. And I think what honorary starter is like where they say
start your engines.
Yeah. So that's cool. They also announced Seth Rollins is returning to SmackDown next week, which is good. But I kind of wish they wouldn't have come when they came back for the Rumble. I wish he wouldn't have came back with that just with the not the disciple,
the Messiah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I wish they would have gone away with that, but it is what it is. Maybe they can still change it.
If they held him off, I would have loved to see him. All of a sudden, they said they try to figure out, like with Chamber coming up, they held him off to Chamber, but they made it like, a surprise entrant. Everybody's trying to figure out who it is. And then Seth's music hits and he's sitting in the pod ready to go and everybody's fresh and stuff. And he's the last person to enter the match in the Chamber. If there was audience on it, that would be a huge pop just because of the fact that you don't really get returns at Chamber. It's usually at major pay-per-views for the most part.
Yeah. The only other thing that I saw today that was rather interesting is Bruce Pritchard said his Q&A that he does, or his Q&A that he does on the on his podcast that he does with Conrad Thompson. He just mentioned that he was almost the manager of Kane right away, and that would have been very odd to say. I didn't read the full story, and I haven't listened to the interview. The one thing I was going to add before, I definitely recommend. It's $10 a month, and but go to I recommend listening to those Conrad shows that he has. They're always filled with good information, and you learn so much about wrestling in general. I mean, you get Jim Ross talking for about 2 hours on a weekly basis. You get Bruce Pritchard bitching and moaning for about 2 hours, but it's usually hilarious. And Eric Bischoff, he's fantastic. He gives you more of the business side. Arn Anderson has a show, and then I think Kurt Angle's going to be doing a show soon with him. So it's I was just going to add that it's a good deal. But yeah, I'm picturing that, and I haven't read the full story, so I don't think they were talking about Brother Love doing it. I think they would have probably just made some other character, but who knows? I haven't read the story, so I don't know.
If it was Brother Love, it'd be a neat way to make it full circle, though, because a lot of people think Paul Bearer was actually, Taker's manager the entire time, when the fact is Brother Love was his first one. Pritchard even said it in a lot of the documentaries, saying that he couldn't be a part of the production team and be the manager at the house shows. There was no way that was going to happen. So it would have made it full circle, though. But I mean, I'm glad the way it happened. So the thing I was going to ask you, I was going to cover this on Tuesday, but you're not on Tuesdays because you're covering dark. What did you think about the Q4?
Very interesting. I think they obviously did that in time. They announced that Peacock deal in time for this, so they could keep that. So they could keep the money up, that helps with future analysis and business stuff. It's very interesting. I'm curious to see what route they go. As far as I'm looking at it more from a talent perspective. It's already been reported that they did re-sign Cesaro. I think the two biggest ones that are left are Daniel Bryan And there's been so many different rumors about Adam Cole. I've heard rumors that his contract is up in like this August, September. Um, I think those are the two that you have to re-sign. I think it has to be Daniel Bryan and Adam Cole, and it's one of those things where you have to let them write a check. Basically, you hand them the blank check, and let them do their thing. Now, I know everybody's like, "Well, Adam Cole wants to go to AEW because he's like really close to the Young Bucks and his girlfriend's there." Yeah,
That
I
doesn't
get
mean
that.
jack shit.
Well, and that's the thing. Like he has to do what's better for himself. And granted, I mean, I think they're boyfriend girlfriend. I don't think they're like engaged or anything, and it doesn't matter.
They're in a serious committed
Yeah.
relationship.
So whatever they think is best, or whatever he thinks is best, is basically what I want him to do. I think this is going to sound weird. I think AEW, as much as I love it, I think they got to slow down with bringing people in.
Oddly enough, I'll even piggyback on that. I don't really think they need Cole. And I'm not talking about W. I don't think AEW needs Cole. I don't think New Japan needs Cole. I think with Cole, though, I think he's more comfortable being where he is now, being in Florida, because AEW is filmed in Florida, NXT is filmed in Florida. When crowds come back, their WWE is starting to start traveling constantly.
Actually, from what it sounds like, WWE's not going to be doing as many house shows.
Yeah,
like they used to.
But I'm saying when they have to travel and stuff like that in state, if they have NXT has in state shows or something like that, which ain't going to be that bad. But when they like want to have like start traveling and stuff like that, if he's on the main roster, for example, I think he's more happy as much as there's not much left for him in NXT, unless they decide we're going to get another title, like a third title for the singles. There's nothing really much for him to do. I mean, I think the Dusty Cup is the last thing for him on his list. But I mean, I think more so it's just, the main roster stuff is probably likely with the UE. It's just a matter of them setting up to build up their replacement beforehand into another faction to build up their replacement. And I think they tried doing it for the brand, but I don't think that's working because McAfee's not there. So, but yeah, I think Cole is comfortable for where he is. I don't think any of these other promotions, maybe Impact might try to do something, but I don't think anything major. No, don't get me wrong. Omega versus Cole, yes, that would be a killer match. But I think more so that I think Cole is going to do like what Aaron said. He's going to stay in NXT or in WWE in some capacity. Brian is the curiosity, though. So,
and I think, I think Daniel Bryan's not going either. I know Daniel Bryan wants to have he has some ideas, like he wants to have some matches with people, but he also wants to I think it's one of those things with Daniel Bryan is he knows that WWE was there for him, with the injuries, and he has Brie Bella has the Bella show, stuff like that. I think they are family for him now. And if he's he's in the back now doing storylines, or he's part of the
production team.
Yeah, something like that. So those are the two that are big. And I was really surprised this past week when I think it came out Monday or Tuesday that Cesaro was going to be a free agent. And then I'm like, holy crap, I'm like, I don't want him to leave, but he might be one of those guys too that wants to go. And all of a sudden he just re-signed. I'm like, well, I guess not every. The thing is I fall into the habit of when I see somebody say this person needs to go to AEW, I think about it and I'm like, do they really need to go? I'm like, really? Why? I think they're finally getting to the Miro thing, but I was a big Rusev guy. big Rusev guy. And I'll be the first one to say I have not been impressed with his AEW stuff. Like I don't get it. Like you put him with Kip Sabian. Kip Sabian's a hell of a wrestler, but I don't know. I just think they could have done more.
And plus, they're doing something that a WWE right now will ever do is go have New Japan be a part of their programming, Impact being a part of programming, NWA being a part of it. I mean, I think WWE is content with what they're doing. I think we're literally going to be 2 months away from the year mark of when wrestling releases were insane, or the Wrestle Day of Hell is one of my buddy calls it, and
they call it Black Monday or whatever, because they usually release people. And I did some looking the other day when they were talking about that, and like when they let go of Steve Cutler, like I was surprised by that, but I kind of like thinking, I'm like, man, they let go of Steve Cutler, they would just let go of somebody else too, didn't they?
Lars Sullivan.
Lars Sullivan. So,
but that was almost. But as much as the stuff he did and said, and people point out certain things that in his life he's done, and we have no right to judge any of that stuff.
No,
and everybody is already everybody, and it like the old saying goes right now. It's like beating a dead horse, where everybody's already said their piece about that. But it's like
what his preferences or whatever. I don't care about that. What he said in the past about different races, that was not good. That sucks, and he should have been punished for it or fined. If they did fine him,
they did. They found a high fine, like crazy fine.
That's the thing. Like that, I won't sympathize for you. I just won't, because there's no reason for it. And that's like Hulk Hogan. Like, I grew up loving that guy. Like Hulk Hogan, I loved him. And then he ruined everything by some of the stuff he said. And I can't stand to see him. Like, I got up last night when he came on the TV. I went and did something else for a few minutes. And that's just how I feel. And I look back later to see what he said, and he didn't even need to be on that damn show. And it's a shame that he was even on there. But anyways, I went off on a tangent there.
We've been doing that all day. By the way, guys, this is just like me and Rob just streaming, and it just like randomly anyways. But it's just us shooting the shit. I figured, I don't know how long we'll be on anyways, but if you want to join, just DM one of us, let us know. I think the interesting part with the Q4, what I took, was they're very hopeful, and they have long-term plans and budgeting for long-term post-COVID, which is great. But I'm more curious to see what they have planned going into after Mania and what they're thinking is going to happen. Now, ratings don't mean shit anymore. It's all about numbers, pal. It's all about the social numbers, pal. And I think it's great that Stephanie propped it up about the beer company and stuff like that, the beer deal that they have. But I think the last time they had a beer deal, when they used to like gobble up all these, remember back in the 2000s, WrestleMania is sponsored by Snickers and all this stuff. And, I think it was Budweiser or something like that, something just out of the norm that you're like, why? But I respected them saying we've have all this stuff going on. They talked about the Peacock deal a little bit. The most question is that where's Vince? Not in the call, but a lot of people are asking in the chats.
Well, from what I understand is Vince was on the call, but he wasn't part of the he wasn't Q&A. Doing this. Like he did something before that, from what I understand. I don't know. I read Brandon Thurston's.
Well, I was talking about with the Fightful stream on the call.
Yeah,
He wasn't on that.
yeah, no, I know.
But
Like he was on the call previously, so that's why. Like, yeah, you're right. Everybody was like, "Where's Vince? Where's Vince?" But that it sounded like that was planned.
yeah, but I think for financially, I think they're looking at a better year than last year. I hope that they did point out the furloughs and stuff like that coming back, so that was great. But I think long term with this Peacock deal, they're looking more as a production side of that now rather than anything. Which is going to suit them. I mean, they spent a lot of money on the Thunderdome, a lot of money.
Yeah.
And now they've balanced out their, the losses in the production with this Peacock deal where they can use it. I mean, $1 billion in that contract is just insane. It's just it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the numbers coming up in the next couple of months and see what they expect for the second and third quarter.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Yeah. Other than that, like
we're gonna have a guest coming on in a second. If I go get it, Aaron said he's down to hang out with us, so we could talk some sports too. So, what did you think about the Bauer deal for the Trevor Bauer deal?
It's good for the Dodgers. I mean,
Kershaw, Bauer,
David Price is there. I think this year again.
Yeah, they're inching and inching closer, and it's reminding me of the Red Sox, the 04 season. Like you had two high-end predominant at that point. Key term at that point. You had Pedro still in his prime and getting inching towards the getting closer towards the tail end of it. Yeah. You had Schilling get in the same way, but you had two high-end horses going nuts. And I could see that with Bauer and Kershaw. Hello, Aaron.
Yeah. Hello, how are you guys?
What's up, dude? Good, how are you?
There we go.
Good.
Bauer overpaid. Yeah,
Bauer's overpaid.
That contract's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, it is definitely ridiculous, but hey, I gotta say, if you can get that money, you might as well get that money.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
The thing also I was gonna say is before I had to go for work, is that every contract that someone gets, they're saying, "Oh, it's the highest paid contract ever since A-Rod." Oh, this is the highest paid contract in Major League Baseball history. Oh, this is every contract that for certain persons going to be the highest one. I'll joke around. It ain't going to happen, but Jackie Lee Bradley Jr. wants to be paid the highest freaking amount of money as a freaking center field. Not happening. Defensively, probably a great one. Offensively, 260 is not going to get you a high-end contract, dude.
Ron makes a good point in chat. And by the way, hi, Ron. Bauer makes $40 million. Pirates payroll's 44, Cleveland's 52, and Baltimore's is 56.
I think this is the first year the Red Sox have actually cut their pay dramatically now.
I'm a huge baseball fan. I cannot name one pitcher on the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah, no.
I can't either. I remember like years ago, I was telling everybody, I'm like, this Garrett Cole guy is going to be good. Pittsburgh's going to need to build around him, and then they trade him, and I'm like, well.
But the Archer deal, man, the Archer deal for Glasnow and Meadows.
Yeah. And didn't he just go back to Tampa?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
It's getting more and more ridiculous, and now there's rumors going around here in Boston that Benintendi's on the block.
Well, yeah, I heard about that.
And it's like, what are you going to do to build a team? I mean, they're going the whole Tampa Bay route where it's like, okay, 2-1, all that stuff. Yeah, that's great for a while until that
At least you got money to keep them.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah,
That's the one advantage you have.
especially with the Pedroia retirement and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
What's
Well,
up,
Pedroia didn't play last year though. So
He didn't play for like 2 years in a row, right?
Yeah, he hasn't played for a while, but yeah.
Jay just said about how Tyler Ricks is now becoming a
Good for him, but
transgender
he's
woman.
still an idiot. She's still an idiot, not because of his change, because of his views or her views.
I look at it as that so long as the person's happy, that's all that matters.
Yeah, just that. I don't agree with his views. That's all.
Like I said, at the end of the day, we breathe the same air. Yeah, to quote a line from Pink, we're all pink inside.
Oh, yeah.
So, but that's why I said, so long as the person's happy, that's all that matters, right?
Rob, I want to get Rob's take on this. So the Twins re-signed Cruz as I expected, but they also signed Colomé. What do you think about the thing with Colomé? I don't like his K rate.
Yeah, that was a surprise, to be honest. I knew they were going to try to get Cruz back, and they were talking about it, but they were waiting to see the market. Basically, they wanted to see what was. They didn't want to overpay, and it's ironic because the Twins owner is like one of the highest, like profited or one of the richest owners in baseball. He's up there. So it's ironic, but he has how much he has a certain amount he wants to pay, like team payroll. But I'm glad they got him. As far as I was surprised by it, but with them letting go of Odorizzi and
he hasn't
trading, I think he's going to St. Louis. I think that's what
he wants. Oh, you're casting away.
Yeah,
I think it was from right here. He wants a 3-year, like $45 million deal, so like 15 a year.
Yeah.
I mean, the one person's take, if I could try to see if he's available to come on, I'll send a message and see. But I would like to see Sean's take on Trevor Bauer being.
He's watching UFC.
He's pro Bauer. He's pro Bauer, but he's upset with the Reds because the Reds are like. He doesn't know what the Reds are doing. They lost 2 starting pitchers, Bauer and another pitcher to San Francisco. And there's all these talks about either Sonny Gray or Luis Castillo being traded. Sonny Gray is on a good contract, and Luis Castillo is still young. I don't know why they'd be thinking about trading Castillo. It's just NL Central, man, is getting weaker, except for the Cardinals, who just got better.
I think the AL East is starting to get a little bit weaker in the middle half of it, though. I mean, Yankees are the Yankees. Red Sox are cutting their pay like crazy.
So I think Blue Jays have a chance to challenge for the wild card. Tampa, you know what? Never underestimate Tampa. Yankees, of course. And
the Ron, that would be probably SRS Cats. He has more. And that's actually that's my brother's cat. So, or my brother's family's cat. I'm actually at my brother's place because I wouldn't have made it home in time to do this. So I just stayed here and did the podcast.
And he did talk about the trade today.
Yeah, just so you guys are aware, there's 2 dogs and 2 cats, just in case they decide to make it a cameo.
Welcome, Bowling Indy. Padres are going to be tough, yeah.
He can be Bauer. Bauer can be.
Yeah, and Ron said that Elvis Andrus trade for Chris Davis, that actually surprises me. It happens, but you don't see many interdivision trades in baseball.
Nope.
I mean, it happens, but that actually surprised me. And I like Chris Davis, and I like Elvis Andrus. So that surprises me.
But Oakland needs a shortstop because they lost Simeon to my Blue Jays.
Yeah.
So they need a shortstop.
Yeah. I get that. And then Ron says that Odorizzi rumored to the Mets. I've heard that too. I don't know if the Cardinals one started gaining steam last night, so I don't know if that's changed today. But I was just going based off what I saw last night. but I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because we'll possibly have a full year of baseball, but I'm been pumped up for baseball.
So, Aaron, because Rob's in the AL Central, what do you expect out of Boston though, as a Blue Jays fan? Now that Core is back in the, do you see like a
Of course.
lesser version as managing he did because of the talent around him, or
I think it depends on Sale and Rodriguez. Sale, because Sale has been injury prone, and Rodriguez, I know he had to deal with COVID and it really affected him last season. They still got Bogart. They can still. I think they're going to resign Bradley Jr. They got Vergago. I still think they have some of the offense, but it's their pitching and their bullpen is question marks. And Toronto's really improved with their offense. In Toronto, my Blue Jays offense is really elite, especially with the additions of Springer and Semien. Our pitching is not great, I'll admit that. The Yankees are the Yankees. Tampa Bay, I think that losing more than Snell will hurt. I don't trust Archer. I think Archer is one of the most overrated pitchers. I remember how hyped everybody was about Archer at one point. I never bought it based on his stats.
I know the Twins were interested in him a couple of years ago. They were looking at trying to trade for him, but I remember going with that route, saying I don't know if you're going to trade a prospect for him, and his numbers are kind of like weird. This year, and I'm sorry, throwback, but Boston's gonna try to rebuild. You might be lucky if they get fourth place,
which would be better Baltimore.
Well, yeah, it's gonna come down to Baltimore and Pittsburgh, because I agree with you, Aaron. I think Tampa's gonna take a step back, and I think it's gonna be. I still think it's gonna be 1-2 New York and Tampa, but I have your Blue Jays third.
I think what the Sox need to do though is put Devers in as a second baseman, and they have to figure a way, because defensively he's a liability at third, but I think a lot of the throws he made over on the third base side there was a lot of errors and miscues. I think he would be better off as a second baseman. But I think the rookie they had last year, they were trying to figure out where to put him, either first or third or something like that. I think he would be better off at third, and then figuring out the first base position, considering Martinez is now going to be the designated hitter to watch.
Can you hear me?
I forgot about Martinez.
Yeah, we can hear you, Rob.
Okay.
Boston, I think Boston can still have some offense. I just don't like the pitching.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Sales is still coming off of Tommy John too, so we don't know how long that's going to be.
And Patrick talking about Carson Wentz.
Yeah,
apparently they're looking for 2 first rounders.
Not going to get it.
I agree.
I don't think. Yeah, they might get 1 first rounder and a third, but I think the thing that's going to hurt Philadelphia in this is they're the ones that are like in trouble, because all this talk has gotten out. They know that you don't want them, so like you can't say yeah, we don't want them, so you can't have a king's ransom for them and say we want 2 first rounds, because you can just wait it out. Like, well, we don't need them that bad, and especially 2 first rounders, you might as well try to give a 3rd first rounder and get Deshaun Watson.
I agree. If Deshaun Watson, I'm willing to give 2 first rounders, but not Wentz.
Yeah, and I agree. And I don't know what his salary is, but yeah, I think 2 first round picks is way too much for Carson Wentz. And yeah, Goldie says Bears and Colts are willing. I think the Bears are dumb if they do it, because they just gave up 2 of their first rounders for Khalil Mack, and then they're going to go do 2 more. And for Carson Wentz has already been proven, if you hit him, he sucks. Like
the Bears would be stupid. I'm reading Patrick's comment. The Bears would be stupid to give up 2 first rounders for Carson Wentz. If the Bears are smart, go for Deshaun.
Yeah, I'll be the first one to say I'm all for the Bears doing stupid things.
a Viking fan.
But, yeah. So, it's. I think the Colts would be a better fit for him.
Yeah.
I think
agree there.
less pressure, for him. But that's a thing, and I think Philadelphia is asking way too much, and I think like Goldie or I keep calling him Goldie. It's Go Indy. I'm sorry. Well, it just looks like an L from, and I can't see where the damn anyways. But he's right. Colts, they're a better fit for him. I mean, I think they're a better fit too. So, but yeah,
I mean, I could, even though like those two teams are on there. And I'm just throwing in there being a homer here. Do you think Wentz would be a good? Do you think Wentz would be?
I was watching the Leaf game. I'm sorry. Matthews just had an amazing goal, just like right the second.
Dude's a stud.
I was gonna say, do you think? You think Wentz would be a perfect fit in McDaniel's offense if because obviously Deshaun Jackson, Watson. Sorry, there's rumors around the Patriots going it, but after the Newton thing, I don't think that it would be a good fit because he's a running quarterback first and then a throw. I think they need somebody that's like throw in the middle kind of deal and stuff. I mean.
Yeah. Patrick's an Eagles fan. I'm sorry. Good. I just think that's way too much, and I've said that a lot. But if they get it, it'd be a miracle because I don't know how they can ever get that much for him.
I mean,
you agree with me. I don't think Miami's going to trade Watson for Watson. They're going to build around Tua, and they're going to draft that receiver from Alabama.
Yeah, if they don't go with
some more weapons at least.
Yeah, and I can see them going. I can see them going offensive line to protect them a little bit more if they don't get their receiver.
I think for a lot of the league, they're now going in more heavy running back, tight end kind of formations too. So, I mean, the quarterback's still emphasized because he's going to run the offense. But I think for offensive keys, I think they're going back to it because look at Tampa. Tampa has 3. Don't get me started on the number 1 tight end they have, but their core literally of those 3 are amazing. And I think with the way the Super Bowl is where the league's going to go. And that's how it's always been.
Is Brown playing tomorrow?
I think so.
I haven't heard. I haven't, to be honest, I haven't looked since I looked at my FanDuel lineup like a few days ago, so I don't know. I should look at that before the game starts. I'm kind of curious to see. Obviously, we know Trevor Lawrence is going to Jacksonville, but I'm curious to see if the Jets trade their picks before, because I'm really curious. I think that's part of it. I think teams are waiting to see what the Jets do. Are they going to trade for Watson? I don't think you do. I think you keep your picks and
draft Fields.
Go from there.
But who has Houston have to replace Watson though? Like a legitimate hardcore one. I mean, and on top of that, there's a name that nobody's talking about that's quiet, that is still he's in rehab now after the whole freak accident is. But there's no word on Dak Prescott whether he's going to re-sign with Dallas in the long term.
He's a free agent, isn't he?
If they don't give him the
he's a restricted free agent.
The tag?
Yeah, the tag. But I think he's coming. I think he's coming back to the Cowboys. I really do.
And I as much as he's a running quarterback, and I think out of all the running quarterbacks, if for my team, like we're playing devil's advocates because we're all homers at some point. and I'll be the biggest one with New England sports, obviously. But I think Prescott would be a perfect fit in McDaniel's offense because a lot of the times he is read first, then go, instead of Cam, where it's run first, then go. So I think for the pass, they definitely need somebody that's like a throwing quarterback rather that has the ability to run, kind of like what a Josh Allen is. I pray to God. I could tell you right now, they screwed the pooch majorly with Garoppolo, though. That was like Brady. If Garoppolo was still here, if Brady when Brady left this year, if Garoppolo was still here, and if they were crazy enough to have both of these guys, there would be no conversation about Patriot quarterbacks going forward.
That's true.
Yeah.
Kept them. They're loyal to Brady. I would have been loyal, but I would have been, they're loyal to Brady, but Brady wasn't loyal to them.
No, Brady. I think Brady already made his mind up as soon as like him and Bill already started slitting nice because he got a lot of people around here think he got tired of being picked on and stuff. But I mean, dude, it's gonna eventually stuff changes. It's the way it is.
Yeah.
But,
the only thing I was going to say, going back to that Carson Wentz trade, even if they get like just one first-round pick and a third-round pick, I think they already know that they're going to try to go after Justin Fields of Ohio State. So I think right now what they're doing is pretty smart. I think they're asking for a lot, knowing that they know they're asking for so much that a team is going to be like, well, we can't give you this much, but we'll give you this. And then Philadelphia will jump on it. So that's what I think. I think they're interested in Justin Fields. And I think he would be unfortunately a good fit for the Eagles.
according to going Indy, Brown and Watkins are slated to both play tomorrow. So, speaking of that, why don't we do the Super Bowl stuff now and talk about that? Considering, how funny it is, people do all this stuff. Let me pull up the betting line. So, how good of a game do you guys expect tomorrow?
Last I saw, I think Kansas City was favored by 3. I think I'm one of these guys where if I'm putting money on the table, I'm taking Kansas City for the money, but sorry, cat and dog doing something. Cool. I would have. I think Kansas City is going to win, and I think they're going to cover.
According to bonus.com, the current Super Bowl spread money line over under is -3 on the Chiefs and 3 for the Bucks. But the chance of winning is Kansas City at 62%, whereas Tampa Bay is 41%. And that's going across from like FanDuel all the way to DraftKings and right around there. But the change in the last 21 days has been 28 to 26%. Odds of winning the Super Bowl, 2,800 and 600 right now. And that's as of yesterday. So the lines could have changed at any point. So
I got KC winning. Close game by 3 or 7 points, 35-28.
I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be like those, "Aw, hey, puppy." I think it's going to be one of those old-school classic Patriots Super Bowl games where it was like maybe 1 or 2 point difference and just insanely good. I mean, nobody's been to 10 Super Bowls ever, and Brady's the only one. So we'll see. I'm just hoping for a good game, though. I'm I'm going to be wearing my Matt Ryan jersey tomorrow, probably just because I need to wear something black for morning.
Oh. When you mentioned Matt Ryan, I just remember that Super Bowl.
You know how difficult it was to work at a pizza shop, and my boss at the time was making fun of me, saying, "Oh, so what are you going to do? Shred your Patriots jersey and your Falcons jersey?" I'm like, "No." Why would I want to do that? It's expensive jerseys as it is. All right. So other than that, I figured probably head out. Everybody's been chilling out and stuff. We've been on for about an hour and 15 minutes or so. Aaron looks like he's preoccupied with the hockey game anyways.
No, I got my Leafs and the Raptors playing at the same time.
Are they playing against each other? No, I'm kidding.
Other than that, Rob, tell them where they could find you, man.
Sorry about the last 4 minutes or so. You can find me at Rob Wilkins on Twitter. Otherwise, on Tuesday nights, I cover the awfully boring AEW Dark. And on Wednesdays, I cover at least a lot more exciting AEW Dynamite. So on Fightful.com, I also write about sports on a website called shootingthesportish.com. And that's about it for me.
Aaron?
So you can find me at Aaron J's Fan on Twitter. And you can also find me on my YouTube channel, Aaron Entertainment. I just did a sports show today earlier. So back was on it for a few minutes.
Yeah, in my work uniform.
Yeah.
I was like literally having my phone above my face and like, please God, please don't.
That's also where you can find me at YouTube channel, Aaron Entertainment. Yeah, what I said, it was Slowback was on. I do a wrestling show Monday. It's all a pop culture show Thursday and a sports show every Saturday. And I do sometimes random videos and random streams of video games. So come check me out. Aaron Entertainment. Just type in a search and you'll find me. Thank you.
So I get to be on Aaron's show on Monday, which is going to be awesome. I can't wait. We got a lot of good stuff. We have Blue coming back in. I asked him to be on for Tuesday, so he'll be on. Aaron's more welcome to come on. Just Tad is going to be on the podcast this week, trying to ask for suggestions. So at the end of the show for the next 2 weeks, it's going to be asking, so if you were turning 40, and I might as well ask you two this because I know I'll see Aaron, but Rob will be doing stuff for Dark and AEW's Dynamite. If you were turning 40 tomorrow, what would be a couple of suggestions you want people to make for your birthday?
Well, it's the same every year for me. Hookers and blow. No, I don't know, man. 40. I turn 40 next year, so I don't really know. What I do is I just try to do something fun. Like me and my brother will usually go to like a Minnesota Wild game, or we'll just try to do something, like just that. I just like hanging out. Like I'm very low key when it comes to like birthdays now. It's just like I wish they would just like stop going, like the number would stop going. But other than that, I don't really have anything like that I could say. I just say do what you like. That's the biggest thing. Like do what you want to do.
Well, as of right now, what I'm going to be doing is spending my Saturday for my 40th with you guys. My two best friends, I'll see them tomorrow for the game. One of them is pregnant. My best friend, who's her husband, is very excited. So I don't know what will be happening at that point. My other friend probably wants to go get cake, which is fine. But it's like I don't want to be sitting and not doing something. So I figured might as well have a few friends on. I don't know if UFC's on, send some invitations out, have people pop in and out, just have a show, have some fun. I don't know, maybe convince Anakin to play Uno and Rob tell us how bad we are or something, something along to that. But I'll figure it out. But that week is very busy, anyways. We got the chamber on Sunday, and then
Oh yeah.
you got the show on Tuesday. So I'll see if
Oh, did
something
you
can
see that
go on.
intense? Did you see that intent? Did you see that intense talking smack between Adam Pearce and Paul Heyman?
I'm watching it now, so don't yet,
Oh,
because it's right now on the Bianca segment that I paused.
okay. Well, I won't spoil it for you, but you gotta check it out.
Yeah. But other than that, check out Aaron Entertainment. Rob's always killing it like usual. Be back here on Tuesday, 8:00. Just hanging out, talking wrestling, life, video games, whatever we feel like. Hell, if somebody decides to do the Mockerator, that's perfectly fine.
Nope.
It won't be Rob, though, because that wouldn't be great.
No.
Check out Sisters Custom Designs. They're doing a really good job. They did the shirt for that Anakin did for Denise. If you're in the Massachusetts area, check out 5-Star Barbershop. They do a really good job.
Oh, we got some news here concerning rent. Just
What's
now,
up?
13 minutes ago. According to a sources telling this, reporter Natalie Angengoff, I've never heard of her, but she's legit and verified. Says, according to her source, that the Bears' deal for rent is close. Foles is speculated to be included with another offensive player and a first rounder. Buckle up. So Foles may go back to Philadelphia again.
Anyways, do a good deed, pay it forward. God, man. We'll be back at it again on Tuesday, 8:00. Check out Fightful like usual. Actually, if we had a raid thing if we're on the Twitch thing and they were doing their stuff for the UFC stuff on Twitch, I'd be like, hey, Rob, do you want to go raid them and send everybody there? But obviously we can't do that on YouTube. So go over there, watch the watch along. The UFC is happening tonight. It's going to be awesome. I think Shaq's on right now, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, go over there now into the UFC side and check out them and stuff and just have some fun. Tell them Throwback, Rob, and Aaron sent you over there and just harass them about, submission holds in wrestling that are mixed martial arts and, kind of thing. I don't know. Anyways, it's all love anyway. But have a good night, guys. Have a killer weekend. And just hopefully Gronk does something stupid.